The war between the U.S., Israel and Iran is causing global uncertainty and instability as attacks across the Middle East continue. Iran has launched multiple strikes on Israel. At least 6 people are reported injured after missile shrapnel hit a building in Tel Aviv. The Israeli military says search and rescue operations are underway at several sites in the south. Haifa in the north has also been hit. Explosions have also been reported across Tehran as the U.S. and Israel target the Iranian capital. Early attacks hit Isfahan and other cities. In the Gulf, Kuwait says falling missile debris caused by interceptions has left 7 power transmission lines out of service. The attacks come along with signs of a diplomatic channel opening. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has held calls with several countries in the last 24 hours, including Egypt, Pakistan and Oman. Well, we have a team of correspondents around the world covering the latest developments in Dubai, Beirut, Tehran, Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. And that's where we begin with Nida Ibrahim, who's there for us. So more Iranian missile attacks right across Israel, Nida, this morning. Tell us about what's happening.
Well, an early warning was sounded and was alerted around half an hour ago. And then we've heard loud explosions. And then we've seen the pictures. Serious damage that has been caused to one building in Tel Aviv, a 4-story building, leading the ambulance service to head to the site. They say that 6 people have been lightly injured. But there are 8 sites where reported impact has been notified. Now, it's not clear whether it was an Iranian-fired cluster munition missile that had been intercepted, and upon interception, these small bomblets have exploded and splintered across, or whether this is a result of something else. When we say something else, usually we mean shrapnel from an Iranian missile. So this is being investigated now in Israel about the cause of that. Although there is one Israeli security and military analyst and writer who says that he suspects this might be a projectile that's coming from Lebanon, and he's saying, much to the embarrassment of the Israelis, they won't announce that. That remains to be seen. But in general, this barrage has hit central Israel, causing this damage. But the Iranian missiles have reported to be at least 6 waves, 6 launches since midnight, causing damage inside Israel, also in the south, where the Israeli Broadcasting Authority says 2 people have been lightly injured. This is causing a lot of concern in Israel, especially these cluster munitions that sometimes splinter across, and it can reach an area of a few kilometers diameter. This is something that is really alarming for Israelis as they try to intercept more and more missiles, and as some missiles manage to infiltrate through the very heavy, very advanced Israeli aerial defense systems.
Yeah, and we're looking at live pictures right now, Nida, of that missile that apparently landed in central Tel Aviv there, and ambulances, we saw ambulances and fire trucks there, a number of cars damaged by that strike, it would look like. So clearly the Iranian continuing to attack Israel, Iran launching a new wave of missiles across Israel, as you said, including there on Tel Aviv, as we see on those live pictures. In the meantime, Nida, we understand that Prime Minister Netanyahu has held a phone call with the U.S. President Donald Trump. How aligned is Israel and the U.S. today on getting a deal with Iran after President Trump's comments 24 hours ago?
Just before I answer, one update to that missile attack. One road linking Tel Aviv to the north of Israel has been closed as a result of these shrapnel that we think happened from a suspected cluster munition. Now, going back to your question, Folly, Benjamin Netanyahu is a master at diplomacy and at politics. And in public, he knows better not to defy the US President Donald Trump. Although we know that we've been reporting on that for the past few days, Israel had been concerned of a premature end to the war ordered by President Trump. It would be difficult for Israel to continue this war without the US's blessing. And they remember how in June it was Donald Trump who stopped the war. But in public, he was saying that Israel will benefits and interests will be taken into consideration, that both the US and Israel are on the same line. But indeed, when it comes to the Israelis, their war objectives have been different than the US's ones. They've been focusing heavily on toppling the regime, dismantling the system and the ruling system in Iran. But we've been sensing from their statements, including Netanyahu's, that they could not achieve that goal. So they were backtracking it, focusing more on the diminishing of the ballistic missile program, of diminishing the nuclear abilities of Iran. And all of these things are being sold to the public as a success, not the success that Netanyahu wanted, not the success that Netanyahu was hoping for in order to secure himself a position in the upcoming elections. As we know, we are expecting them to happen in September or October, and Netanyahu has been vowing to crack down heavily on Iran as a way to boost his popularity. Although recent polls show that the current war, yes, it is very supported in Israel, but it did not give Netanyahu any seats and in the upcoming elections, and that premature, let's say, end of the war, the potential one, could cost him a lot in the ballot.
Okay, Nida, thank you very much for bringing us the latest there on what's happening in Israel as we continue to look at these live pictures from Tel Aviv. This is in Israel, of course, where search and rescue efforts are underway following the latest Iranian strikes on the city. There have been several Iranian attacks across Israel, on the south, on the center as well. We've seen a number of vehicles damaged there by what looks like a debris from a missile that fell on Tel Aviv. We'll keep a close eye on the situation in Israel, of course, and bring you the latest from there.